Thoughts Radio presents
Fresh Tomatoes, the movie podcast.
I'm not usually a hat fan, but wow.
Jeg vil ikke være en dagger.
I'm really sipping on that dumb bitch juice today, and
Yeah, I am. But you know what? Someday I just might grow out of that. But you will never stop being a jerk.
All chocolate cakes are good. You're a fascist.
it's hideous.
It's horrible.
It's home. Angry white boy, let's go! Hello, and welcome to Fresh Tomatoes, the movie podcast. The tomboy girl who you never thought would be your true love. That's Chad Ekowitz.
Oh, that's Simone LaRue. I love it. That's great. It's very good. It's got its 80s vibes, you know, like this, you know, the girl who takes off her glasses and she's the most beautiful girl you've ever seen.
And somehow you're just this very handsome, sensitive dum-dum who can't recognize girls unless you see their entire whole bare face.
It's insane the level, the lack of any detail or effort that's put into masking someone in those movies, and yet
Look,
dumbfounded.
in all fairness, in the original Cinderella, she's not even wearing a fucking mask. She's wearing a shoe. And then he tries that shoe on everybody. Like, come on,
Yeah,
dude.
no, that prince be dumb. But also, he's also very elitist, clearly, because he's like, no. She was really, like, she was rich
She's
hot.
real classy.
Yeah. Poor hot is a very different type of hot.
I mean, look, especially back in the day.
Oh, yeah. Just the whole shower bath situation, very different. Yeah.
Oh,
But talking about beauty, I'm really mad at you. Like, your hair looks on point, and we're like a fucking year into the fucking coronavirus lockdown, and I'm over here fucking with whatever this is, a cheap ass looking fucking toupee, which is actually my real hair, and you're looking on point, and it's bullshit,
the
and I
roots
hate
are
you.
definitely showing, but I got like a really vague highlight that was closer to my natural color, so it wouldn't be such an issue. And I've got kind of a nice balayage going, which is cool.
Yeah, it's not cool. It might be cool for you, but for us over here who look like fucking Boris Johnson with his hair, like, just
Like, that's a stylistic choice you made, though.
how dare you? I haven't had a haircut in 2 months. This isn't stylistic at all.
I'm just saying, like, maybe while you were unemployed, you could have picked yourself up, buy your boots, straps, learn how to cut some hair, make an income, get a side hustle. This is why millennials are poor.
Wow. I know you're being sarcastic, but I'm so full of rage, and you're very close to the guillotine.
I'm sorry. Here, I'm just cackling at you.
With your perfect hair and just like flawless skin. You're just on point.
No, this is it happening.
Read the room.
There's just a lot of concealer up in this situation.
And really good lighting.
Yeah. Good
You got it.
lighting is the
it's
number one
paramount.
winner.
Yeah.
Actually,
Well,
gonna
Simone.
fix up. Oh,
Well, Simone, we should talk about what movies we are actually doing this
Mm.
week. I mean, we gave a vague hint of it in the beginning, and again, on the assumption that no one reads the titles of these things. What are we doing this week?
We're doing a category that I'm actually shocked we have never done before.
Mhm.
We are doing Cinderella stories. And I found out through reading, Chad, that actually these movies that we are covering mark the beginning and end of Disney's like Cinderella story like saga.
Right. Okay. So
So
like,
it
what do you mean?
started
Like,
with the first movie that we're covering, which is Hilary Duff's Cinderella story, right?
Okay.
And then there was one with Selena Gomez, and there was
Oh.
one with Lucy Hale. So
Right,
big Disney
okay.
stars of the day. And now it's ended off with the other one we're covering, a Cinderella story, If the Shoe Fits, starring our girl, Sophia Carson.
oh, she was perfect. I mean, we'll get into it properly. So it was literally bookended by these two movies. That's really interesting.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't think they planning on making another Cinderella story, but let's be honest, it's Disney. Like if that cow has milk, they will milk it.
Oh yeah, they'll
So-
bleed it dry. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's really interesting that they like had a whole basic like kind of phase for this kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think like the premises were slightly different for obviously each story.
Yeah.
But ultimately, yeah, it was started by our girl Hilary Duff, ended off by our girl Sophia Carson, which I'm very happy about.
Oh yeah, no doubt about it. I think we've chosen two really good movies out of the Cinderella story. But I do love what you said there about sort of being subtly different. And I would love to have been in that Disney meeting where they were just like, right, the Hilary Duff one, teenagers, cool, everything's great. Yeah, teenagers doing DMs and shit like that. Excellent, great. And then by the time they got to the last one, they were just like, what if we did it on a boat? It's pretty much the same story, but on a boat. Good idea?
Theater?
I thought it was a boat because they're like at a hotel.
No, it was at a resort.
Oh, okay.
I was actually trying to see if it was filmed in Cape Town because the background looked very familiar, but I couldn't tell.
Oh, right. Okay. Fair enough. Well, I'm really excited. I love Cinderella. It's a great story. And yeah, I'm excited to get into it. So let's see who's going first. Or do you want to do
may I suggest that we do it in order and we start with your one, the Hilary Duff one, and we end off with my one, Sophia Carson.
Yeah, I think that's very, very fair. Given like sort of give credence, give homage to the original Disney order of things.
Yeah, let's have fun with it. Yeah. I have a question for you though, before we get into what we're drinking.
Yes.
What is your favorite Cinderella story iteration?
Oh, because I'm very self-centered, it's the one I was in, where I played Prince Charming, of course. And my name was what was Prince Charming's name? Thomas. In mine. Yeah, it was really cute because you'd be like to the kids, you'd like walk out and be like, "Oh, hi, my name's Prince. I'm Prince Charming. How do you do?" Oh, that's a bit formal, really. Oh, my friends just call me Thomas, and then you get the kids to be like, "Hi, Thomas," and it's really cute. Yeah, it's really, really fun.
For our listeners who don't know, Chad toured around doing a pantomime for how long?
About 7 months. I did 2 different shows, which was over an entire year basically. But yeah, the panto was about 7 months.
That is amazing. That's so cool, actually.
It was so much fun. It was honestly just like the most fun ever. Just being able to like dress up every day. I got to be like an ugly stepsister as well. I got to be like a mouse puppet who was Cinderella's best friend. It was just like hilarious. And like my little buster had an American accent. So he'd just be like, "Wow, Cinderella, you look like the bomb.com." And he was just fucking hilarious. I love that part. It was so
I would
cute.
pay good money to see this.
I wish it had been recorded. Actually, I can see if I can find the recording and I'll send it to you. I won't give it to any of our listeners, but I'll send it to you if I can find the recording. That would be good fun.
I remember when I was a kid, I used to love it when we had pantomimes visiting the school. Like it was a highlight of my year.
Oh, it is the best. It is just so much fun. You get that break.
It's so fun.
Dreams.
And I always I remember, I think when I was a teenager, I was like, oh, isn't it quite sad to like do these things for kids? But actually, like performing for kids is so fun.
Oh yeah, they're the best because they get proper into the story. They cry, they're laughing.
You will never have a more enthusiastic audience than kids.
Definitely. And it's like their reactions are earnest and honest as well, which is so important. So good.
Yeah.
But yeah, same question to you. What's your favorite Cinders?
Oh, I have 2.
Okay.
That are tied. The first one is, I think it's 1997, Rodgers and Hammerstein's Cinderella.
Right. Okay.
That's the one starring Brandy and Whitney Houston.
Oh, beautiful. Okay.
It's just perfect in every way. It's like this totally blind casting. So it's like a Black Cinderella, a Filipino prince. It's got Whoopi Goldberg and Victor Garber as the king and queen. It's got it's got the fantastic, I forget her name. It'll come back to me. Bernadette Peters. It's got Bernadette Peters playing the stepmother. It's just like, and obviously Whitney Houston is the fairy godmother. It's just perfect in every way. Like I could watch it over and over and over again. It is pure joy every single time. It's like full of colors and costumes, and it's fantastic.
I must watch it because I haven't seen it. So I will go watch that. Yes.
Honestly, maybe we should do a watch party.
Yes, that would be really fun. I would love that.
That would be really
so
fun.
Good.
I'd be down for that.
Yes. And what's your second one?
The Ever After with Drew Barrymore.
Oh yeah. That's super cute. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was also in the 90s. It has Angelica Houston as the stepmother, and in my opinion, I think she's like the best stepmother.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Oh, she's so evil.
So evil.
It's a delight. It's so nice. I mean, Drew Barrymore's British accent is iffy at best.
Something. I think this is one of the great things about Cinderella is because, like, even though it's been done to death, there are thousands of these movies out there.
Yeah.
It is still one of the greatest stories of all time. Just this, down and out girl who's had like it really rough, meets this cute prince who's a huge dummy who doesn't know the difference between someone's feet size. And he just goes around and he eventually finds her, and it's a beautiful love story. So simple, but perfect.
Yeah, like it's just gonna make you happy. There are so many different ways to interpret like her emotional state, her relationship with her stepmother, why she and the prince fall in love. It's just it's a delight. It's wonderful. Like you can't be sad watching a Cinderella story.
No, not even a little bit. It's great. And I think what's also really nice about it is the fact that it is so simplistic. Like Sleeping Beauty is about a chick who gets whacked by a needle and goes into a deep slumber. Iffy. Snow White, same kind of vibes. Like it's all very fantastical and mystical. But Cinderella, she just goes to a dance, she has a lovely time, she falls in love, and she kind of has to run away and stuff. There is a little bit of magic in it, but it's all relatively believable, barring the one thing.
I mean, like a lot of fairy tales, it's just so comforting to watch. You know exactly what's going to happen, and that's great.
Yes, exactly. What do you know about the original, the Brothers Grimm story?
I know in the Brothers Grimm version, the ugly stepsisters actually cut away pieces of their feet to try to make them fit inside the slipper. And it's actually a fur slipper, not a glass
made of squirrel skin
one.
Yeah, which is kind of gross. And then like they're bleeding feet in it. Nah, not feeling
you can't wear that again.
By the time it gets around to Cinderella, you're kind of just like, oh no, I don't want to. Yeah,
she must be like,
that.
Dude, please, don't you recognize me?
The only other thing I know about the Grimm story is that when she tries to leave, and why the slipper falls off is she tries to leave, the prince goes, not a chance, and he actually orders that the whole dance floor is covered in tar so that she is physically stuck in place.
That's very extreme. And then they just had like tar lying around?
Apparently, yeah. The prince wanted this as a contingency, just in case he wanted to stop a woman from escaping.
The prince is always the most problematic character.
Yes. He got some issues.
But we'll get into it.
Yes. Okay, cool. Well, before I embark on telling you about the best Cinderella story, what are you drinking?
I'm having a lovely Chenin Blanc.
Ooh.
Yeah. It's actually a very light one. It comes at, I think, at 11.5 or 12.5. So very chilled. How about you?
Well, talking about chilled, I see you've got ice in there. I know you have your own little trick there of grapes in there. How come you've gone for ice instead of grapes?
Grapes are very expensive at the moment.
Yes.
As much as I love a frozen grape, for wine and for snacks. It's just not doable. I do have a whiskey stone lying around somewhere, but it actually gets warm really quickly. So
Yeah, the idea of a whiskey stone is really good. The actual application is not.
I also do think like whiskey needs to be diluted like just a little bit, just that little bit of ice. Like I like a nice I think it's a double shot of whiskey with 2 blocks of ice. Perfect for
your
me,
vibe. Okay. Yeah, I feel that. Like it does need like a little bit of the edge off, and making it nice and cold as well just makes it really crisp and lovely. Yeah. Speaking of whiskey, I am having a Jack Daniels. I'm having the fire whiskey, which is the peppermint one.
Ooh, lovely. Is it a ginger? Is it fire?
Yeah. The fire one is peppermint. Yeah, it's really nice. I put it with a bit of
Christmassy.
It's nice. It's just festive and it warms your heart. I mixed it with a bit of Sprite.
It sounds like you could put that with like a chocolate liqueur even. I just like chocolate and mint as a combination. I love a good peppermint crisp tart.
That is nice. That is really, really good. Did I say peppermint? What did I mean? Cinnamon? Is it cinnamon? Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh, ginger. Like that would be.
We are on point. We're so good at things. We should never stop being good at things.
Oh, God. Professional podcasters.
Right. Shall I tell you about a Cinderella story?
Please.
Okay. So this Cinderella story follows Sam, played by Hilary Duff, as she navigates the intricacies of high school in the San Jose Valley in California. In the beginning, Sam had the most perfect life. Unfortunately, her mum died at a very young age, but she and her dad developed an incredible relationship, and the two were as thick as thieves. Every night, Sam's dad would read her a fairy tale, and one day he told her that this fairy tale book, which he is reading to her from right now, contained some very important information that she would need to know later in life. Foreshadowing. Unfortunately,
I did not pick up on that at all either. Like, if I were a dumbass kid, I also wouldn't be like, oh yeah, that's where that happened.
Exactly. The only reason I picked that up from this watching was because I've seen the movie before.
Right.
I would not have picked that up on a first watch. Not a hope in hell. So unfortunately, Sam's dad thought that she needed a more feminine influence in her life as she began to grow up. So he found a woman and wedded her. The problem with this plan, however, was that Sam's new stepmother, Fiona, played by Jennifer Coolidge, has no intention. Yeah, I know. Second one for our good friend Jennifer Coolidge.
She's so funny.
So funny. She's brilliant. So she had no intention of raising Sam and actively despises her. What makes things worse is that Fiona has 2 daughters of her own who make Sam's life hell. Things only get worse when Sam's dad dies in an earthquake. Now Sam is alone with Fiona, who inherited the house as well as Sam's dad's diner business, and Fiona basically treats Sam as a slave from then on in. Cut to 8 years later, and Sam is now in high school. She is a straight A student despite the fact that she works 7 days a week at the diner, and Fiona makes her do all of the chores at home as well. Sam has an awesome best friend named Carter, played by Dan Bird, and a very cool fairy godmother-esque type person who works with her at the diner named Rhonda, played by Regina King. Third week for Regina King.
She's just been popping up.
Oh, we love her. This is the year of Regina King.
This is the year of Regina King, yeah.
Yeah. So most importantly, Sam has an anonymous suitor who she emails with constantly. The two have never actually met in real life, but found each other on a chat room for teenagers who want to go to Princeton. All they know is that they go to the same high school. His email handle is Nomad because he is a wayward soul lost in a sea of people who don't really know the real him. And Sam, of course, is simply Princeton Girl. So one day, Nomad tells Sam that he will be waiting for her at the center of the dance floor during the upcoming Halloween dance. She agrees to find him there, but unfortunately, Fiona has other plans. She wants Sam to work that night. Sam is bummed, but she has to do what Fiona wants if she's going to get the tuition to go to Princeton. It's the night of the big dance, finally, and Sam is clearing tables, doing all of that stuff, when Rhonda basically says, fuck that, and convinces Sam to go to the dance anyway. They scramble to come up with a costume, and they find one. Sam is going to go to the ball as a masked Cinderella, and it is literally just the tiniest
little lacy mask.
Imagine a thong, but for your eyes. That is what it is. So the mask is necessary, however, so that Sam's stepsisters won't recognize her and tell Fiona that she had been at the dance instead of working. So Sam goes to the ball and meets Nomad. Turns out Nomad is actually Austin Ames, played by Chad Michael Murray, who is the most popular guy in the school. Sam is totally shocked at first, but Austin does not realize who Sam really is, so he tries to guess but fails miserably. Sadly, Sam has to cut the night short before she can reveal who she is to Austin because she has to go back to the diner before Fiona pitches up. When Sam arrives at school the next day, she sees that Austin has put up posters everywhere trying to discover who this mystery girl is. Sam tries to repeatedly tell him, but every time something gets in the way. She's also super nervous because she doesn't want to get hurt when Austin realizes that she's just a poor, nerdy girl with no real family and not a super hot, popular girl that the girl he thinks she must be.
Don't forget rich.
Yeah. Well, I did say poor, she.
Oh, sorry. Yes.
Because she's poor. It's made very clear that they hate poor people. So poor, you guys. You cannot date poor people. Ugh. So, in the end, Sam's secret is revealed in the most embarrassing way when Austin's ex-girlfriend puts on a farcical skit mocking both Austin and Sam for their romantic meeting at the ball. Austin is super embarrassed, Sam feels crushed, and she runs away. To kick the girl when she's down, Fiona tells Sam that she didn't get into Princeton, even though she did, and reinforces how shit her life is by telling her that she'll always have a job at the diner. A day or two later, after remembering all the lessons her dad taught her, Sam decides to stand up for herself and tell Fiona where to stick it. She moves out and moves in with Rhonda, and keeping up with this new attitude, she confronts Austin and tells him he's a coward and a fake and that she is totally disappointed in him. At the big final football game, Austin apologizes, tells Sam that he's an idiot, and that he should have found the courage a long time ago because she's the girl he should be with. Later, Sam finds her father's will, which had been hidden inside of the fairy tale book from the beginning of the movie. It leaves the house and the restaurant and the diner to Sam. So Sam kicks Fiona and the stepsisters out. She finds out she actually did get into Princeton, and so did Austin. So they'll be going there together. They all live happily ever after. The end.
What's your cliffhanger, Chad?
So it has to be this one, and it's the DM conversation in the beginning, because it's like the first 5 minutes and they're just like really cute, but also, oh my God, like
it's very early 2000s.
It's so early 2000s. Did you ever do that kind of like IMing?
Oh, I had a couple of online boyfriends.
Oh, really? Simone.
Back in the day. I'm pretty sure they were probably 40-year-old men. I am very lucky that I did not get kidnapped.
Oh yeah, yeah, for reals. Like that is intense. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. I think early 2000s internet safety was a huge problem.
Very
for us,
innocent
wasn't it?
time.
Yeah, yeah. The burgeoning age of technology has just really fallen away, hasn't it?
Yeah, I think if my parents knew like how much I had done online, they would have been quite horrified.
It's I think it's quite terrifying for us as we start to get into that age of having kids ourselves and things like, oh my God, I do not want my kids online. That is a terrifying reality.
And the thing is, like, as a child, like, even as a teenager, you're so stupid.
Yeah.
I say that with all the love in the world. And as someone who's fully aware that I was once a teenager, I was so stupid.
Yes.
You don't understand when you're being manipulated. You don't understand when you're being groomed.
No.
It's so dark. It's so bad.
If we have any teenage listeners, guys, if someone says to you that you're really mature for your age, you're not. They're very immature for their age.
There is no reason for someone in their 20s or up to be interested in you.
Yeah, yeah. And it's not because you're a shit person or anything like that. You're wonderful and amazing and everything. But no, that is a relationship on convenience for them, because they know how easy it is to prey on your young flesh. It is not out of love. And you may feel love for them, but they don't feel it for you. Harsh truth from your friends here at the Fresh Tomatoes podcast, but a truth
guys,
nonetheless.
like seriously, and if you're confused, like reach out to someone you trust.
Yes.
But like really don't let these people become central to your life.
No.
Just be really careful.
Yeah, yeah. The internet is a dark, dark wilderness, and you can do better.
But anyway, this worked out really well for Hillary Duff.
yeah. She really upgraded here. I think this is a great thing about sort of IMing in that day and age. I mean, like I don't know. What really bugged me about that fact was how quickly it is revealed that Austin Ames is Nomad. Yeah,
like
it was just like first 5 minutes. Yeah, that kind of I was annoyed.
You would have known. Like the moment you see Chad Michael Murray step out of his fancy car and the sun hits him and he's doing like a little pout, you're like, oh, it's him.
Yeah, it's going to be him.
That's the guy. I see. Yeah. I understand. Like, I'm glad that they weren't like, oh, who could it be? And you're like,
we know.
We know. Like, I think, you know what? Fair enough.
But it is like, I love seeing Chad Michael Murray again. Like, I love whenever we do a Chad Michael Murray movie, because the dude he's so wonderfully 2000s hot. And it just makes me so happy that there was a time when a skinny white boy like that could just be the tops. The
peak hotness. And like, you know what? Part of me, like, I really felt myself hating myself for how attracted I was to him. Because his dialogue is so cheesy, right? And the description of him is so cheesy. It's like, oh, you're a football player. I didn't realize you had the heart of a poet.
Yeah, it's
objectively cringe. Please kill yourself. But like, you see his beautiful face and his
those
like
doe
blue
eyes.
steel pose, and you're just like, oh, okay.
You do have the heart of a poet, you beautiful, beautiful son of a bitch.
Oh my
and I
God.
Be mad. I think that bit in the I am messaging when he asks her how her day is, that's all anyone really wants. That is like the epitome
especially
of
a
love.
high school girl. Like, high school girls need the bare minimum.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the threshold is very low for men in general, but for high school girls, damn. Yeah. So when he's just like, how's your day? I was like, oh, okay, I love you now. Fair enough, Chad Michael Murray. So what did you think about the rest of the movie and not just the IMs and our boy CMM?
I mean, look, we won't even discuss. Like, I think there has to be, with any Cinderella story, there has to be a certain suspension of disbelief that the prince
Okay.
will have a very hard time recognizing her. You just have to let that go. You just have to
Okay,
understand he's
yes.
like a little dumb. Maybe he's kind of face blind. Like, just, it's done. We can't go
Right.
into it.
Yes.
I did like Jennifer Coolidge as the evil
Yes.
stepmother.
She does a great job.
She was so funny. I liked Regina King. I just, as always, regret that like all of the early 2000s, she was cast as like the mystical black woman, you know, like the one who's just here to like help this white woman on her journey.
Yes. Yeah. It's a tough sort of dichotomy because obviously, you know, and I guess there have been multiple philosophical studies about this, and we're not going to solve it now, but like there is that dichotomy between sort of, okay, white people own the industry, so you kind of have to play the roles they essentially put for you. So if you do want to work in Hollywood, unfortunately, this is the kind of stuff you have to do. Is it degrading to you? Yes. Do you have to do it in order to fulfill your passions and hopefully bring in a better world? Yes.
Is it
it's
shitty?
Is it shitty?
Absolutely.
Yes.
It's so
it straight
unfair.
up racist? Yes.
She's such an incredible actress. I don't know if you saw that this year she's releasing a movie that she's directed called One Night in Miami that looks incredible.
I'm so excited for that. That is going to be such a good movie.
You know, she unfortunately had to like, God, go through all this shit. She's such a good actress. And like for every role, you know, when we covered her in Miss Congeniality, and now like every single role where she had to be this like supporting actress to like this white main character going through some fairly mundane shit, she like brought it for a performance, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Like she really like, it's not necessarily believing in the role, but it's just acting your butt off regardless and just putting
no small parts,
into it.
Only small actors. And Regina King is not a small actor.
No. And yeah, major snaps for her because I think One Night in Miami is just going to be off the chain.
I'm so excited.
Oh, it's going to be brilliant. Yeah. I loved Jennifer Coolidge as the evil stepmom. She's just got such a distinctive voice that kind of really leans for the role well. And what I really liked about it is like nothing in this movie, and I guess this is the contrast to the next movie, which we will talk about. Nothing in this movie is necessarily OTT. It's all sort of relatively realistic in terms of how they act, which is nice. It's not overdone. You don't feel like overly ascorbic to the villains in this. They're just kind of. I
feel like the evil stepsisters are a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit much, OTT.
But they're the only. I don't know. I guess like the popular girl also. It's just like, but at the same time. Here we go.
Yeah, I've met a lot of popular girls in high school who are like that. So it's And
also, let's be honest, Chad Michael Murray is not like the best guy in this.
No, he's a jerk.
Like he's been DMing or IMing or whatever they called it in the early 2000s with this girl for months. Like that's made really clear. Like he stayed up late. So he's like clearly establishing a relationship with this girl, and he's fine still dating the popular girl who he clearly feels nothing for. Yeah. And then like the day he's supposed to meet her in person, he's like, oh, hey, I think we should break up in front of all her friends. And he's like, not understanding why she's deeply upset about it.
Yeah, he's a proper dummy. Like he's an awful human being.
Hilary Duff is like, oh, I'm poor. He could never like me. And it's such a weird, like leftover from Gen X and boomers where like there's like this established like social hierarchy because like I was a teenager in that time, and I'm kind of like, if a guy didn't want to date me because I wasn't as rich as him, like he could honestly go fuck himself.
Yeah, for reals. Like that was not a thing for our generation at all. Like money was never a thing. Like, there were some people who were elitist, but it wasn't like a casual thing. And what I found really
teenagers love the drama. Like this rich dude dating this poor hot girl. Come on.
Feed it to me. That's a story from TLC, and I'm all about it. Yes, that would be insanely good. But like, I think it was also disingenuous in itself, like, because even in the movie, they didn't really any of them seem that rich. Like the only thing that like
His
was
dad's
a
a
was
car
a
salesman.
yeah, the only thing that was of sort of any indication of wealth was the fact that he had like a really nice Mercedes, and that was
Yeah.
it.
But his
Like,
dad's a car salesman, so
yeah.
like obviously he could get a nice car.
Yeah, exactly. It makes no sense that it would be like this. And like that whole scene where the ex-girlfriend puts on the little skit show and embarrasses them. It's so blatant that it's about how poor she is and nothing else.
Yeah.
She's like, and that girl was Sam, the poor diner girl. And everyone's like, haha, fuck for the poor. And it's just like, what?
It's so weird because I feel like in real life, if that happened, people would be like, this is really
awful.
mean.
Yeah, like
it's
there's
really
no
not
need for
that
that.
funny. And especially like so many people pass through that diner. I'm sure a lot of them would know Sam and be like, actually, she's really hardworking and really nice, and her dad died.
Yeah.
So maybe fuck you.
Yeah, straight up. Like that is so mean and so not what anyone would do in real life. And yeah, it made no sense to me, especially because Austin as well has seen her multiple times and been really nice to her. Like he very much clearly doesn't. That's what I didn't understand about that scene, is because he looks like when he finds out that it's her and she's poor, like it destroys him, and he's just like not happy about it at all. And it's like, but why? You've been so nice up till now in terms of that. Like that has not been an issue until now. It makes no sense.
It's really interesting, you know, seeing all these modern retellings of Cinderella, because like the actual fairy tale, very straightforward. He's a prince, she's beautiful, they fall in love, it elevates her social status so she doesn't depend on her horrible stepmother anymore. That's it. And then whenever they try to bring it to a modern context, they have to like either force in this like super classist dynamic, which like does not exist in the real world, or they have to create some other social divide for them for it to be forbidden or whatever. And it's hard for modern retellings. It's really tough.
They have to shoehorn it in somehow. And like you said right in the beginning, you have to suspend your belief with this because it just, in a modern setting, it just doesn't work. And like, even in that whole basis of the social class, that she no longer has to depend on the stepmother. Like in this one, she has the money. Like at the end,
she just gets rich anyway.
It has nothing to do with him. Like even in the end, she's just like, "Oh, we dated. We're gonna date in our freshman year, and then afterwards, I don't know what's gonna happen. No, it won't last." And like that's what was really nice about the realism of this movie is she's like, "What? I'm in uni now," and I was just like, "Yes, go get it, girl. Yes, get shish kebabbed by those Princeton
Oh my
men."
god. I mean.
Hey, uni is crazy.
Like maybe build up to that first, like experiment a little bit, like.
Nah, all or nothing. You know how it is. You know, bring it
dramatic.
on. Bring it on 3, all or nothing. That's what we're talking about over at Princeton. And also, I realized this morning, and I felt like quite a dummy, the reason that it's Princeton is obviously because it's Cinderella and Prince. I didn't get that until this morning, which I feel quite ashamed of. I'm not gonna lie.
Doesn't like the dad says that in like the opening scene where she's like with her dad and she's like, well, where do all the princes go, or where do they come from? And he's like, oh, Princeton. The princes go to Princeton.
Right. Okay, I missed that bit. I guess, but
and that's why she wants to go to Princeton for her dad.
Oh, that's cute. That's cute. Terrible decision. So you should go to the university that's got the best course for whatever you want to do. But
and Ivy League isn't necessarily like the best environment for you to thrive in. But that's a whole other.
So what else did you enjoy about this before we move on?
I enjoy. Look, Hilary Duff is always a pleasure, right?
Yes, she's delightful. Her music's in this movie as well, which is just great.
We all have to pretend that she's not super beautiful and she's just quite average.
Yeah, which is just nonsense. It's insane that we have to do that.
You're like, oh yes, very plain Hilary Duff with her perfect bangs.
And just like the most symmetrical face you've ever seen. Yeah. Hideous.
But that's fine. This is the early 2000s, so obviously she has to be like not like other girls, and she plays baseball kind of.
She's so bad. I love that scene where she's playing baseball because she's so bad at it. She does one good hit and the rest are just like ground balls. And I'm like, what is this? Why would you wait? Why would you shoot this? This seems like a terrible decision from...
I liked her best friend.
Yeah, he was cute.
I thought that was kind of fun. I enjoyed, honestly, I liked her costume for the Halloween ball thing. It was a nice moment. God, why do we always have girls in ball gowns and Converse?
Because she's not like any other girl.
She's not like other girls. That's like the number one indication.
Yeah, to be fair though, Simone, not many girls have the commitment and dedication that you do to your shoes. It's like, I know we discussed this on an earlier episode that once you're in high heels, you're in high heels for the whole night.
It's done. Yeah.
And it's done. A lot of other women do not do that. So you can't keep everyone to your high
Like, wear some nice pumps.
Yeah, but Converse is just the guy shoe, you know? It's the good old Chuck Taylors.
Not like other girls, though.
Not like other girls. If she wore Vans, that's where it's at. Yeah.
That would be hot. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that whole scene with like any scene with her best friend is just great. The car scene where the car gets destroyed is unfortunate but funny.
Great chemistry.
Yeah. It's just like, I think overall this movie is just delightful.
Yeah.
It's just
and I like
fun.
the little scene where she and Austin get to know each other at first and they're like walking through the high school gardens.
Yes, you know, the common thing that all high schools have, the gardens.
The gardens with the gazebo for people to make out in and no teacher supervision.
To be fair, they have that as well in the Twilight series, in the first one when Bella and Edward go out dancing, and it's just like, what schools are these? What ridiculous white-ass schools have these things?
Like, I went to a high school with quite sprawling grounds. And not once did I encounter a rose-surrounded gazebo with fairy lights.
I would have loved that. It's like, oh, where do you want to go after that? Where do you want to go and have lunch? Oh, under the rose gazebo. Let's go do that thing, shall we?
I mean, I wish, but...
We can read Tennyson to each other and it will be lovely.
Oh, God. My wasted youth.
So what is a scene that could have saved it for you for this one?
I think for me, I would have liked a little bit of like a tougher Hillary Duff, right?
Okay.
Like I wouldn't have wanted her to take it lying down to start off with. Like she's very nervous to like reveal her name because she's like, oh, he'll find out that I'm like poor and like kind of a loser. But I would have liked it if she was just like, oh, I'm nervous. I don't know. Because I have intimacy issues with men in my life since my dad died. Yeah. And like I'm really maybe worried about my own psychological state because like I lost out on the strong male figure in my life and I don't want to attach too strongly to this one.
That's cool.
That's why I'm nervous. And the moment he like, I don't know, is like super weird about finding out who she is because she's poor.
Because
like,
she's so poor.
Immediately, instead of like backing off, she should have just been like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like,
yeah, realize it's not her
deal.
trauma. Yeah, exactly.
Your dad sells cars. You're not even that rich. Like, no, not to disparage car salesmen.
No,
it's
but
just like,
still.
it's not like peak wealth.
No, exactly. Not to the wealth that they're trying to establish in this movie. It makes no sense like that.
And especially if she was like, hey, and also you're kind of a coward that you haven't told your dad you're going to Princeton and like you think
you're judging
I'm a
me.
Loser? Like, come on, dude. I'm standing up to my fucking stepmother. Like
that would have been cool.
I would have liked her to stand up for herself sooner, and I would have liked Austin to be a bit less of a dick like throughout the movie.
Yeah, that would have been nice.
Very hot. Like, if Chad Michael Murray had begged me to take off my mask and been like, I want to see your face, like, ugh.
It would have been off in seconds. It would have been off in seconds. He wouldn't even have to ask twice. You would tell him instantly. Those
rose bushes would have gotten a bit of a tumble in them, you know?
Oh shit. Oh.
No one's dancing chastely on the gazebo.
Oh god, that needs to be put on a shirt. No one's dancing chastely in the gazebo. That's brilliant. For me, I just want the reveal to be slightly later. Like we find out who Nomad is so quickly, and it would have been just nice being a Cinderella story where the mystery of the people is such a fundamental part of the story.
Sure.
It would have been really cool to have maybe like have that as a gender swap, so we just don't know who Nomad is. It's about the mystery, and the dance happens far later in the movie than in the beginning where it is now, and we have Chad Michael Murray reveal himself right in the denouement of the movie. And from there, it's sort of just this like really beautiful story about how he's coming to terms with the fact that she is so poor. It's unbelievable how poor she is. And he just comes to terms with that.
About the scholarship she has to apply for, and he's like, oh.
It's like, wait, does your dad not just pay for everything like everyone's dads does?
Scholarships?
Well, I don't know what that is. Anyway, let me take you out for dinner. Buy yourself something nice. But yeah, I think it would have been just nicer to be like, and like maybe have a little bit of a mystery. So there's like a couple guys who could be Nomad, which would have been interesting. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Would you watch it again?
Oh yeah, this is really fun.
Mm-hmm.
Jennifer Coolidge, honestly, I think she steals the show. I do think low key for any Cinderella movie, whoever plays the evil stepmother is like, that's the key role.
Yes.
As far as I'm concerned.
Yes. Yeah. You've got to have like such a good gravitas, because otherwise, like if you're too soft, then the story does like it defeats itself. Yeah. If you're too hard, it actually becomes a bit too serious, and it like borders like everything they do. Yeah, everything they do is abuse. Like she is an abused person.
Yeah, totally.
But like in the Cinderella stories, it's always a little bit funny, and you can kind of get away with it. But
yeah, I think they have to write it so that whoever Cinderella is like self-aware about it, and she's like a little bit above it. Like she understands that they're being irrational and unreasonable. I think if they wrote like a realistic abuse scenario where she's really broken down and she believes that she's not like it would be a real bummer.
Oh, it would be so sad. It would be
Might be
so
worth
sad.
doing, but you'd have to handle it very delicately.
So subtle. It would have to be so subtle. Like that is probably why there hasn't been a realistic Cinderella story yet.
Yeah.
Because it's just
I think the closest is maybe the Drew Barrymore one for me.
Right, okay.
That Drew Barrymore in that one is very much like, she really tries to get her stepmother's approval all the time, and like she's so scared. Like I think that's maybe the closest for me. But like even then, in all the Cinderellas, they do understand that like their stepmothers are ridiculous.
Yeah, exactly. Because and I think that goes as well to the fact that they're a bit OTT, like they need to be. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, God, the latest Cinderella, the one with Lily James in it, the latest Disney one, that had Kate Blanchett as the evil stepmother.
I can see it.
She did a good job.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Yeah, fine.
She was no Angelica Houston.
But who is? Yeah. But yeah, I agree. Like this movie is just such a delight. It's really fun. It reminds you of what the early 2000s was.
Oh, so much.
And you just got to watch it because this is like peak Hilary Duff, peak Chad Michael Murray, and it's just great.
Peak
just
Jennifer
enjoy
Coolidge.
it. Yeah, just hit it up because it is just super duper fun. Yeah, absolutely. Well, Simone, I want you to tell me about the other one. The one
Cinderella story. If the shoe fits.
The shoe fits.
Okay, well, I'll tell you all about it. Okay. Tessa, played by Sophia Carson, is our Cinderella. She unfortunately lost her father and now works part-time at his auto shop. And is unfortunately also an assistant to her horrible stepmother, Tilly, Divine, played by Jennifer Tilly, and her stepsister. Did I say stepsister?
Yeah, you did.
Sorry. She is unfortunately an assistant to her evil stepmother, Divine, played by Jennifer Tilly, and her stepsisters, played by Athena and Olympia, played by Amy Louise Wilson and Jazar Jaslyn, respectively. Over the summer, there is an invitation at a big holiday resort that is creating a production of Cinderella, starring a famous British pop star Reed, played by Thomas Law. And basically, it's like a pay-to-play kind of deal. So you buy a package. It allows you to come to the resort, get housing, audition to be in the show. You at least are guaranteed a supporting role, if not a leading role. And then you perform in this over the summer, and you get like different meet and greets with the main celebrity and stuff. While there, Tessa's basically treated as a glorified slave until she meets her friend Georgie, played by Nicole Fortuyn. She makes friends with a lot of the staff at the hotel, and Georgie's like, hey, you seem like you are a really good singer and a really good dancer. You should totally audition for this play. So because of like the rules and the pay to play kind of vibe, Tessa can't audition as herself, obviously also because her stepmother would like step in and ruin it. So Georgie makes a disguise for her because she's a makeup artist. Basically, it's the Hannah Montana disguise. It's like blonde fringed wig and blue eyes and like a beauty spot and then like very sparkly clothes. It's very Hannah Montana. I cannot emphasize enough. And she puts on a British accent, and it says that her name is Bella Snow. She auditions, she and Reed immediately vibe and hit it off, and she is given the lead role as Cinderella. From there, Tessa needs to lead a double life, playing Bella, who is working on the Cinderella play, as well as Tessa, the assistant to her stepmother and stepsisters, as well as the person who Reed is depending on to help fix his motorbike. While she's fixing the motorbike, she and Reed really bond. She really likes him. The problem is that he has a girlfriend, Harper, played by Ashley DeLange, who is all the way in the UK, and so she doesn't want to make a move, but she's really feeling feelings for him. There's like some complications where Reed's assistant Freddie Marks, played by David Ori, he's like, oh no, he's like gonna propose to Harper, so you shouldn't get involved. And then she's really sad. The final night of the night of the actual performance, Tessa's stepmother figures out who she is, finally locks her away so that like the stepsisters can steal the show. There are a lot of hijinks. Finally, though, Tessa escapes. She reveals who she is to Reed, who this time thought that Bella was a separate person to Tessa. And she's like, oh, we're one and the same. And he's like, oh, I love you. And then they finish the play and ride off into the sunset. The end?
The end on a beautiful motorbike.
It's very chaotic the last couple minutes there.
Oh, it's completely bonkers. But what is your cliffhanger for this one, friendo?
Oh, it's gonna be this one. And it's the one where she's first talking to Reed as Bella. And he's like, oh, what's your accent? I can't quite place it.
I'm from Yorkshire Puddingshire.
And the thing is, like, her accent is supposed to be bad for comedic reasons, but it's not terrible, actually. She actually does a pretty sentences out. She gets really high and breathy with it, but it just sounds quite posh, actually.
Like she does a pretty solid job of it, I would say.
I was like, she did a better job than Drew Barrymore did.
And it was intentional with Drew Barrymore. Like, she tried to do an accent. I
actually thought Sophia Carson did an amazing job in this movie.
Yeah, the only thing that let me down for Sophia Carson in this movie was that little ballet she does in the opening scene for the play, and I was just like, oh, that's a bit of a shame because she's
not a ballerina. No,
which is fine. Like you look, she has her dance skills. That is very clear from the rest of the movie how good a dancer she is. And she's such a babe and a tour de force. And in this movie, it just really shows how good she is. I love her voice. Her voice is just
she's a fantastic singer. She's a great actress too. I think she's really genuine and lovely. I'm really keen to see her do more in the world and see her be in more movies. She's so beautiful. It's actually like distracting.
Yes, it really is. And I think for me, the most distracting thing in this was the first time she comes out as Bella and she's walking down and you see her tiny little stick legs I'm very confused. There are
She's
two
so
things that
teeny
just
tiny.
make two things that don't make sense in this world, and that's like the fact that bumblebees can fly, because their wingspan
According
doesn't.
to the laws of aviation.
Yeah, according to the laws of aviation, they shouldn't be allowed to fly, and she shouldn't be able to walk on those broomsticks of
She's
legs.
just so teeny tiny.
Yeah, it makes no sense. I'm so glad that there wasn't a strong breeze on set, because they would have lost her forever.
They actually had to ban fans from the set.
Yeah. And no one was allowed to sigh heavily. I loved this movie as well, just because of what you were saying earlier about they have to be not like the other girls, in the fact that she is a motorbike enthusiast in this.
Yeah, she's like, she works at the auto mechanic place that her
Store.
dad once owned, and that's not really well established.
No.
Like, there's this opening musical number.
So
People have to
funny.
understand. There's this
So
opening musical
good.
number. It's like a white background, this red convertible, and these like
It's Grease.
male
Yeah.
background dancers dressed in black. And she's like in this black leather cat suit, and she does this like most of this musical number. And you're just like, wow, this is a strong start for a movie about Cinderella.
Literally a minute in, basically, isn't it? It's very quickly in the movie.
And then it turns out that it's like a dream sequence for her, and she's like working on a car or whatever. And then she spends like 2 seconds in her dad's workshop, and then she goes off to help her stepmother and stepsisters at this audition. So it's only briefly established that she works at a car shop.
Yeah.
We don't know how long. We don't know like anything.
No, not even a little bit. It's great. And I think what really does it for me about that scene as well is the fact that like she comes out of the dream sequence and she's got headphones in and she's listening to the song that she was singing.
Yeah.
So is Sophia Carson the person who's playing on her
Chad,
iPod?
That way lies madness.
Yeah, I'm very confused. And I think I was distracted by that for the rest of the movie, because it kind of just went by the rest of the movie, which is just funny. What did we think about the evil stepmom, evil stepsisters in this one? Because I mean, I mentioned it earlier, but I just felt they were very over the top.
Yeah, I was not a fan. I thought they were way too much. And there was no nuance, right? Like there wasn't actually any reason. I feel like for both of these movies, we don't really understand why the stepmother doesn't like her.
Yeah.
She just doesn't. Like she just
hates
decided.
her.
But
Yeah.
we get no background of like before the dad died, or like we just have no idea where this has come from.
Yeah.
What this attitude is, what their background is. Like I don't know. And that makes it hard. It makes it really hard to believe or like stick to, because you're just like, well, then you're just awful and silly. And I don't actually have to pay attention to you.
Yeah, like I felt myself rolling my eyes a lot in any scene that they came up in. It was just really uncomfortable. It was just like, just really hammy acting. Like, and I love, what's her name? Tilly.
Yeah. Jennifer Tilly.
I love her as an actress. Like anything else that I've seen her in, I think she's brilliant. I think she's such a great character actress. Her voice is so distinctive. And then and when I saw that she was going to be the evil stepmom in this, I got really excited. And then like it just she was just so forced in everything she was doing, and it just kind of completely put me off of her and everything she was doing. And I guess like it made the other characters seem a bit more real and a bit more down to earth, and it was an interesting directorial choice. Interesting, yeah.
What did you think of Reed?
Reed is in the movie. He was
definitely supposed to be like a Harry Stylesy character. I feel
he was for the time. He was the everyone, Disney obviously wanted to capitalize on the whole hot British boy kind of thing being our vibe. It is just really funny because he is completely useless. He is like a reed in the wind, and he just gets blown from one way to the other, just like hoping for the best. He is more useless and undefined than Chad Michael Murray's character. At least Chad Michael Murray had hopes and dreams. He was just too afraid to do them. This kid is just like, being
a pop star is hard.
That was so beautiful. Oh, that's great. That wasn't
a
really
great
good
accent. It was actually,
I would say
quite
it's
bad.
pretty good. I would say it's pretty good. It's as good as Sophia Carson's, I would say.
Oh,
You
no,
pulled
no,
it
no,
off.
let's not.
Yeah. Look, he's cute. There was no question about it. He's a cute guy. He's pretty hot. Anyone in a V-neck does it for me. That's my vibe. But yeah, but completely useless other than that. What did you think of him?
Yeah, much of the same. Also, again here, like at the end it's revealed that he and Harper aren't really dating. She just like they're friends and she thinks it's more.
Yeah,
But
that's
like
really
that isn't
harsh.
explained to Sophia Carson at any point. So
No.
like the whole time they're vibing and stuff, and even when they almost kiss, she's like, "Oh, what about Harper?" And like to me, if like I'm hanging out with a guy and I know he has a girlfriend and he's still making moves on me, I'm like, "Oh, so you're actually kind
No.
of sleazy though."
Yeah, yeah. And this is another life lesson for all of our listeners is if he's willing to cheat with you, he's willing to cheat on you.
Yeah, girls and
Just
men, frankly.
and men. Yeah, yeah. We're all awful people. So
Like
yeah.
I just because she's so like in general the character like knows what she wants and she understands like how she wants to be treated.
Mhm.
And then with this dude, like she thinks he has a girlfriend the whole time and she just like doesn't say anything, and it's just
Yeah.
like at the very end where he's like, "Oh, Harper's not my girlfriend, she just thinks she is." And it's like, well, her dad's
You
also
had
investing
opportunity.
like a lot of money in you, so clearly everybody thinks she's your girlfriend except you, and you haven't set any boundaries with her. You take all her FaceTime calls and
Yeah.
don't say like, "Oh, hey, I actually don't think this is appropriate for the relationship that we do have." Like
Yeah.
nothing.
No, absolutely. And like he has so many opportunities to say it to Sophia Carson's character
Totally.
too. Like she brings it up and he's just like, "Oh, I don't know how I feel." No,
Yeah.
just straight out, just like boundaries, my guy. Not hard to go, "No, we
Yeah.
are not dating." This is why labels are important for this kind of thing. Sets boundaries. Guys, unbelievable. Unbelievable. I loved the ending because of the chaos of it, but also I don't know if you've ever been to a show like an actual live production where they try to bring out a motorbike at some point. It is
Yes, I watched a Rocky Horror show where they
Oh,
have
yeah?
obviously Eddie has his motorbike.
Yeah. Yeah, it is always a terrible decision because you're in an enclosed room, it's very
so
loud,
loud.
and the
Yeah.
smell of petrol will stay with you for the rest of the show. So I love it at the end when they come off of the stage and down into the audience and just chill there for a couple minutes. And I can just imagine the audience being like, "This has ruined my dinner. Like, I hate this
Yeah.
so
great. Motorbike fumes on my food.
much." It's the
Cool.
practical implications of movies like this that just make my day. But yeah, I loved the fact that there was singing in this. How did you feel about sort of the musical nature of this Cinderella?
Like if you're gonna have an actress in there who's as talented as Sophia Carson, like get some musical numbers out of it. Apparently the soundtrack to this is available on Spotify.
Interesting.
And it is considered Sophia Carson's like first album.
Oh, cute.
Yeah. I mean, she's a fantastic singer. Always happy to listen to that. Yeah, it was fine. I don't know how much it actually added to the story though, because like the lyrics are the lyrics are very strange. Like there's a lot of bird imagery.
Yeah, yeah. Lots of learning to fly, going to fly.
Yeah, like so the opening song, supposedly the opening song for Cinderella is like her talking about how she's a bird free to fly kind of thing. Which doesn't make sense
because
not. That's not how Cinderella feels at the opening of the play usually. And as we know from musicals, the first song that the main character sings is usually an I want song.
Yes, yes. It's the call to action. Yes.
Exactly. It's like this is the character's motivation. And we don't know the character's motivation because she's just like, I am a bird. I am free to fly. And it's like, cool.
Wrong, but cool.
This does your circumstances seem to suggest so much otherwise.
Yeah. It's
this
pretty.
is not the
Just
highest
don't think about it.
budget movie.
No, I completely agree with you. Like, I think the less you think about it, the better it gets. You
Yeah.
just look at the pretty people, look at the pretty colors, enjoy that. The fact that I think they hit every beat that needed to be hit.
Yeah.
In terms of like, you even have the scene where she's switching between her mechanic self and her Belle Swan self or Belle
Yeah,
Snow self.
yeah.
And she gets them confused, and the mole's on the wrong
The
side that he just wants to make.
hijinks.
The hijinks of it is just great. You expect that in a movie like this. As soon as someone is doubling up, you're like, cool, there is going to be that scene.
A scene where
And
they
hit those
costume
beats.
change constantly. Yeah.
Yeah, and they hit those beats, and it's just delightful, and it's good fun. And yeah, I appreciate seeing Sophia in a different movie that's not Descendants.
Yeah, I like this movie also, I don't know if anyone any of the writers have ever produced a play.
Clearly not.
Like, I mean, neither have I. But the whole process was really confusing. Like, first of all, pay to play is always going to be a little bit.
Oh, terrible decisions were made. That is an awful decision.
Dicey at best. And they do the audition, and like the auditions are really weird because like the stepsisters do like a magic act, and some people dance and some people sing, and it's like, okay, so there's clearly no one audition piece for people to work on, or like no like parameters for this audition. I guess you don't have to set them since people are just paying to be in this thing anyway.
Yeah.
But that was like really weird. And I hate that when audition scenes are really bad and then Cinderella or like whoever shows up and they're really good, because it's like, or you could just have the auditions be like mediocre to good and have Cinderella be really, really good, which is not hard to do cinematically. And it just feels like an easy win.
Yeah, exactly. It's like everyone else is shit but this one person.
Yeah. And then they cast this girl, even though like her name hasn't shown up on the lists or anything. And the whole reason that Sophia Carson is in disguise is because she's like, oh, I can't go as myself. I haven't paid to be here. And it's like, but neither has your alter ego. So I don't understand. It's just really weird. And then the stepsisters are really upset that one of them wasn't cast as Cinderella. But like with any play that you think is going to have like some sort of magnitude, you're happy to be cast in any leading role. Right?
Yeah,
like,
it's lovely.
The evil
you
being the evil
happy,
stepmother, that's a get.
Yes. Oh my god.
Yeah, being the evil stepsisters, that's a get. Being the fairy godmother, great role.
Winning role.
Like,
winning role.
You wouldn't complain about not being Cinderella. You'd just be like, oh, this like is just not something I'm typecast as.
Yeah.
Like I don't have a Cinderella vibe to me.
No. Plus, let's be fair. Cinderella is a wet blanket of a character. She just sits there for half the movie, and yeah. So being the evil stepmother is actually the best role in that play because you're in command.
Evil stepmother or fairy godmother, like one of those two.
Yeah, the mother characters are quintessential. Everything else is pretty lame. Even Prince Charming, as a former Prince Charming, Prince Charming is a shit character. No, he is a shit character. So dumb. So dumb.
He's like at the ball. He's like me, and then he sees Cinderella. He's like, what?
Whoa, this is insane. Now I'm gonna shut down the whole kingdom. I need you in my life. And then she tries to run away, and he's like, no, I need you back.
And he's like, she's so beautiful, but I cannot recognize her.
Yeah, that's the thing. He loves her face so much. You would think he would remember her face. Unbelievable. The one time, and this is my height of dumbness as Prince Charming. We were doing the ball scene, and I've met Cinderella at this point, and I'm introducing myself to her, and she's just like, "Oh," I'm like, "You're the most beautiful girl I've ever met," and she goes, "Oh, thank you, Your Royal Highness," and I go, "Please," I'm supposed to go, "Please don't call me that. Call me Thomas," and so I go, "Please don't call me that. Call me," and I forget my name. And so for like a solid minute, we're just standing on stage and I have forgot my name. I can't think of another name. I can't think of anything at this point. I'm just panicking. And she eventually just goes, okay, and moves on with the scene. It was brilliant. It was my favorite time of being Prince Charming, just being such a dummy and just forgetting my name. It was brilliant. It was so good. But scenes that could have saved it. What is yours?
My goodness. I think this movie was unnecessarily complicated.
Right.
Right. Like I think she could have won the role as Cinderella and she could have let him in on the secret then. Like there was no reason to keep the secret from him at that point. And then they could have like worked together for her to be in the scene, you know? Like
Yes.
I don't know, cuz like by the time she actually got the role, from that point onwards it felt really silly.
Yeah, it really does. It just like kind of falls apart. It's very chaotic. There's no point to it really. Yeah.
It's dumb.
Completely agree.
And then I actually have two because my other one was at the very beginning. There's a really cool dance number with her and the staff at the hotel.
Yes.
And they say like, oh, like the staff are the most talented dancers. Like this is going to be they give the best performance. And then we never hear about it again.
Nope. We never see it again.
And I was like,
nothing.
Why are you establishing this?
It was,
Yeah, I assumed at some point that they would like that something would go wrong with the main crew, or like the stepmother would organize some sort of walkout and the staff would be able to walk in and actually give
just
like
do a
really
good
performance.
Yeah.
But that just didn't happen.
No, it was so weird, and
It
like
was very strange.
I appreciate that scene for its like cinematic and dance abilities and everything.
Yeah, it was a really fun dance number.
It was such a weird scene as well, because like she comes in, Sophia Carson's character comes in, she just wants to eat her lunch, and these motherfuckers just decide they want to dance now, and she gets roped into it.
She doesn't even get to eat her lunch.
No, I know both of us in that scene. If that was you, you would be furious being taken down to the beach and not being allowed to eat your
well,
lunch.
if they were like, oh, come dance, I'd be like, yeah, just in a sec, I'm just gonna eat my food, thank you so much.
Yeah, that was such a weird scene. I would have been furious. I've got to dance now. I'm already tired.
Off, guys,
and now
I'm hungry.
I'm so hungry. Just let me enjoy my chicken parm.
Just give me 5 minutes.
Yeah. What's really funny is actually my scene that could have saved it is exactly the same as yours. He finds out early on that she is who she is. They work together against everyone else to get her in this film. Excellent. Yeah. It's so late in the Cinderella story. Just do it.
Especially because they kind of hint early on that he's onto her when he's like, oh, your accent, I can't quite place it.
And he should know there is no place called Yorkshire, but Yorkshire Puddingshire.
Yeah.
Like, I know the English names of villages and stuff are ridiculous. There is literally a small village in sort of the Midlands called Cat and Fiddle. That is the village name.
Adorable.
I know. But yeah. So I can understand his apprehension, but still, you would know that there's not a place called Yorkshire Puddingshire.
He's so dumb, though.
So dumb.
Prince Charming, canonically, is always a little dumb.
Yeah, understandably so. Before we move on, I just want to go get my charger because my battery, for some reason, is very low. There we go. Excellent work.
Excellent.
So, would you watch this again?
Probably not. I gotta be honest. If I'm gonna watch Sophia, I'm gonna watch Descendants.
Yeah, exactly. It's one of those movies, like, I'm glad we saw it just to see, like, if you're a Sophia Carson fan, watch it once. But other than that, like, if you're just like want a good Cinderella story, this is definitely not the one for you.
I also, if you like Sophia Carson, she's in another movie. It's on Netflix. It's a dance movie called Feel the Beat.
Oh, cool. Okay.
And that's pretty fun. It's pretty good for her. She's more of a dancer in that than a singer. And it's nice.
Oh, lovely.
I think she's clearly upped her dancing skills for that movie because it came out like last year and this movie came out in 2016. But yeah, it's lovely.
Oh, good. Okay, cool. But yeah, don't watch this movie unless you're like really a Sophia Carson fan, like jonesing for that SC vibes. Well, Simone, we bring to the end. The shoe has fit on the foot of the podcast episode, and we are done. Happily ever after. We can live on. So tell me, what is your gratitude for this week?
So this week I went camping.
Yes, you did. Beautiful camping.
It was so nice. We were just like out in the middle of nowhere in the mountains, and in South Africa, you're in the middle of the nowhere when a troop of baboons just like parades through your campground,
Wow.
and you're like locking all the food away so they don't attack you.
Mhm. Terrifying.
Baboons are scary.
Very scary.
But they were fine. That troop didn't really associate humans with food, so they weren't like
Oh, cool.
aggressive. They were just like coming through because the campsite's next to a riverbed, so
Right, okay.
they were just coming down to hang out by the river. But yeah, it was beautiful. It was so nice. There was like a 30-minute hike from where we were staying to like some rock pools that you could swim in.
Oh, wow.
And it was just delightful. It was exactly what I needed. I finished a book.
Wow.
Yeah, it was just nice, like just chilling, having a nice time, eating stuff that was cooked over a fire.
Oh, that's so magical.
Yeah, it was great. It was just a really nice little reset. I start my new job on Monday,
Yes.
and
Very exciting.
I just wanted to be like
full on zen for
super zen for it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. That's good that you had the reset.
Yeah.
I'm so happy for you. And like, I mean, the pictures you sent me were just on point. It really was
Unbelievably
stunning.
beautiful. You guys can
Yeah.
check out my Instagram if you want to.
Yeah, check the beautiful pictures. It will make you well gel, and you'll want to go and visit this campsite because it was stunning.
It was so
really,
beautiful.
Really stunning. Yeah. Mine is not what you think it will be actually this week. Yes, I have a better one. So I had my advocacy exam on Monday, which is essentially an exam where you are fighting against another student, not physically because it is COVID times. Usually the exams it's a physical fight, but because of COVID, we just do like lawyerly stuff. It's a bit boring.
They're so lucky too, because you would have won a physical fight.
Oh, I would have. Look at these tiny fists of fury. I've got strong wrists.
Did taekwondo for like a
I also did taekwondo and stuff. Yeah, but no. So it's like a trial basically, but for like an interim application for something. And it was the unwinnable case, Simone. If there was a case that was unwinnable, 'twas this one. Basically, without getting into too much detail about it, the claimant in the matter hired the defendant in the matter, who was a caterer, who supplied a bunch of curries for the claimant's client, who were the London Vegetarian Council. The claimant ordered the curry the mango curry, thinking it was vegetarian. It contained mango fish. They weren't told that it had fish in it. The London Vegetarian Council ate the fish curry. They were so pissed off, they cancelled a £250,000 contract with the claimant. The claimant is then therefore claiming that money against the defendant because of this fish curry. Issue was, on the menu, there is no V next to the mango curry, and it's in the section called Fruits of the Sea.
Yeah.
Now, the description,
I think that's an Italian term, isn't it? Like frutti del mare.
Frutti del mare, yeah.
But in English, it doesn't quite translate.
No, it doesn't translate well. But so the description of the mango fish, the mango curry, didn't actually say the word fish, but it was still under the Fruits of the Sea section, and it didn't have a V next to it. So I personally thought I was gonna lose straight out.
No, definitely. Like as a vegetarian, like if it's under the seafood section and I didn't eat fish, I'd still be like, hey, like, why is this here?
Yeah, exactly. You would ask, or, just double check. If it doesn't have a V next to it, you wouldn't just assume. You would
I love mango and curry.
Yeah.
In general, like that sounds like my shit, but I'd still have questions.
Yeah, exactly. Especially if it's under Fruits of the Sea.
Yeah.
You would question it. So I was like, I'm gonna lose this case. It's fine. Like you can still pass if you lose, if you don't win. Like it isn't a
battle royale.
It isn't like 50% of the students are gonna fail this exam because they lose. But I won. Somehow I won this case. Thank you. Like,
look at you.
When I was amazed. Look at I'm Alan Dershowitz of the English courts. Like the judge pronounced in my favor, and I was just like, are you sure? I'm pretty sure you made a mistake because I shouldn't have won. There's no way that should have won. I don't deserve that money. That's insane. So yeah, that's like probably my proudest, apart from helping you with your stuff, that's probably my proudest moment to date of my legal career.
Oh, congratulations. That's amazing.
Yeah,
Snaps for
thank
Chad.
you. Snaps for me. Thank you so much. So yeah, that just really like was such a highlight. So I will save the one that you thought it was going to be for next week, and that way I don't have to think of one.
Oh, mystery.
Mystery gratitude for next week. So Simone, have you thought of what we want to do next week? Because I have a good one actually.
Okay, tell me your good one. I have posted in the Discord asking for the next one that we'll do, but like,
Okay, no one's replied yet.
I don't know if they have, but we can wait. Also, we can wait for some really good replies and do that next week.
Okay, sick. Did you like, by the way, like for those of our listeners who aren't in the Discord channel, this joke will probably be really lame for you, just as it was for everyone else. But did
Maybe
you like my
just
comment?
join the Discord.
Or you should just join the Discord to see this joke. But did you enjoy my Comic Sans joke?
Yes, it was very funny.
Thank you. For those of you who are listening, this is the kind of excellent content you'll get in our Discord channel.
Oh yeah.
One of our Discord people said, "I'm not a huge comic fan," and I replied almost instantly, "Well, I'm a huge Comic Sans," and it was hilarious, and everyone was super happy about it. Yeah,
Yep.
That's the content you're gonna get. But please do join us regardless, please. 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 Okay, so what I thought, Simone, it's been so long since we've done this, and it is also a really, really long time until October. So
Are we doing horror?
I'm thinking horror movie of 2020.
Yes, I'm ready.
Because it's been so long since we've done horror, and we just need to hit it up. So I'm thinking
we deserve it.
We do deserve it. We deserve it. It's been a hard
Yay!
months of the year, and yeah, I'm ready for it. So I'm thinking
so
Fantasy Island, which got 10%.
Yes, I've been wanting to cover Fantasy Island.
It's very good, I thought. Personally, I thought it was very good. So yes,
I haven't watched it. I'm so excited.
I think you'll enjoy it. And then The Turning, which we were both really, really excited for in the minisode. That's the one with the kid from Stranger Things, and he's got like a little bit of a darker role. There's like a nanny who's looking after the children, and their parents died, and it looks very cool. I think you'll watch the trailer and you'll recognize it.
Okay.
But yeah,
The Turning and Fantasy Island.
Fantasy Island. Yes, I'm very excited to do horror
I'm
movies
so
again.
excited.
Jonesing. Yes, awesome. Well, guys, thank you so much for listening. We really, Simone is so happy. Every time I suggest something, it's a heartbreak. And so this is just such a nice change of pace for you, I can imagine.
And, I don't know why. I'm just like, I feel like last year, the way I coped was watching horror. It didn't even have to be good horror.
Just anything horror.
I don't know. There's something really comforting about the genre to me.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
And now I just get so much joy out of watching it.
Oh, it's one of those genres where I think because it does have a resolution at the end, like there's always a resolution for the shit that goes on. So
even if it's bad,
nice.
like, I don't know. I really like it.
I'm a
it
huge
makes me
fan.
really happy.
Yeah.
And if something genuinely scares me, I'm like even happier.
Yes.
Yes.
Like you go into watching a horror movie wanting to be scared.
Yes.
But like
I want to be shaking afterwards.
Yeah. I think the great thing about a horror movie as well is the fact that like if it's bad and you don't get afraid, you enjoy it for like the cinematic value and the story. If you do get scared, it's like an extra bonus, especially with how dead we are inside now. Like to be actually scared by a horror movie, you really won me over.
I just want to feel something.
Yeah. Oh. Well, guys, thank you so much for listening. We really do appreciate it. What movies have you been watching now? What do you think of the horror genre? Only positive things, because you're a dirty liar if you think there's anything negative to say about the horror genre. And where can the people do that? Where can they write to us, Simone?
They can talk to us on Facebook or Instagram at Fresh Tomatoes Podcast, on Twitter at Fresh Tomatoes MP. They can email us at freshtomatoespodcast@gmail.com. They can hang out with us on the Robots Radio Discord. They can follow us individually on Twitter. I think you're Chadsby1993 and I'm Simone Lives. And they can follow us on Instagram too. Just like go to the Fresh Tomatoes Instagram. You'll see the two people who like the photos on that the most. It's us.
Yeah, exactly. It's a bit of a roundabout way, but it's just the easiest way you're going to do it. We're not going to make this a long thing. And as we say at the end of every episode, we love you and there's nothing you can do about it.
We love you and there's nothing you can do about it.
Bye.
Bye.